Episode 4 of Solo Leveling Season 2 begins with Jinwoo reflecting on his predicament. Jinwoo argues he must raise his rank to participate in higher-level raids. He plans to get his hunter rank reassessed. At the Hunter Association Resement area, Hyun scouts for hunters. Hyun calls Baek and lets him know that Jinwoo is here to get his rank reassessed. A woman escorts Jinwoo to a waiting area. Two hunters discuss the reassessment process nearby. Jinwoo enters the reassessment area. A female association worker runs into trouble with Jinwoo's reassessment. Another worker enters the room to investigate. He tells the female worker that Jinwoo is inaccessible. The worker claims Jinwoo possesses more magic power than the machine can measure. The worker claims Jinwoo is an S rank. He also says Jinwoo is the 10th person in the country to achieve this. Meanwhile, Choi and Woo discuss the Red Gate event. Choi wants to learn about the outsider, Jinwoo, who participated in the raid. Woo tells Choi he doesn't have all the details regarding the event. Choi and Woo hear something happening in the lobby. They travel to the lobby to investigate. While others gossip about Jinwoo in the lobby, a worker tells Jinwoo the resement machine isn't working. He wants Jinwoo to return in 3 days to get reassessed again. Woo and Choi enter the lobby. Choi greets Jinwoo and wants to discuss guilds with him. Jinwoo tells Choi he's busy and departs. Then, Baek enters the lobby. While Hyun explains what happened to Jinwoo, Choi realizes Baek wants to talk to Jinwoo. Choi believes Jinwoo was the outsider who cleared the Red Gate. Jinwoo visits his mother in the hospital. He exits her hospital room and notices Woo nearby. Woo introduces Jinwoo to Go. Go congratulates Jinwoo on achieving S rank. He argues he doesn't need a machine to determine that Jinwoo earned it. Go wants Jinwoo to join his association and offers him a job. He argues that Jinwoo joining one of the 5 guilds will disrupt the balance. Jinwoo declines Go's offer. He tells Go he wants to continue fighting magic beasts in dungeons. Go understands and Jinwoo departs. Meanwhile, a deputy chief visits Dong-soo in the hospital. The chief wants to know if Tu-hwan is a magic beast. Dong-soo argues that Tu-hwan is a magic beast. The chief tells Dong-soo that people are looking for Tu-hwan. However, the chief doesn't believe they'll catch him. The chief departs. Dong-soo reflects on his battle with Tu-hwan. Tu-hwan told Dong-soo not to mess with his family. Dong-soo wants to retrieve artifacts. He wants to use an artifact to fight Tu-hwan. Meanwhile, Jinwoo researches artifacts on his computer. Jinwoo wants flawless gear before he tackles the demon's castle again. He discovers a job listing. Jinwoo wants to recruit people for an A-rank gate. Meanwhile, Go and Woo research Jinwoo's hunter background and discuss his activities. Go and Woo discover Jinwoo took on a mining job. Jinwoo speaks with the manager. Jinwoo informs the audience high-level dungeons demand a degree of specialization. He discusses the strike, mining, and collection team's dungeon jobs. After Choi, Hae-in, and others defeat the magic beasts inside the A-rank dungeon, they exit its gate. Jinwoo comments on Choi and Hae-in's credentials. Then, Jinwoo and his co-workers enter the dungeon. Jinwoo senses the A-rank dungeon boss and wants to fight it. While Jinwoo and his co-workers perform their duties, someone tells Jinwoo it's break time. Jinwoo tells his co-workers he wants to finish his task before taking a break. After Jinwoo's co-workers depart, Jinwoo heads for the A-rank dungeon boss's location. Jinwoo arrives at the boss's chamber. He knows he shouldn't kill the boss. However, that doesn't stop him from wanting to fight it. Then, Hae-in stops Jinwoo. The episode ends with Hae-in asking Jinwoo what he intends to do. Like all facades, many fans expected Jinwoo to abandon his secret soon. However, those plans were foiled because of a faulty reassessment machine. Nevertheless, fans are just as eager to see Jinwoo fight the A-rank dungeon's boss as Jinwoo himself. Hopefully, Jinwoo can find a way around his current Hae-in predicament to satisfy his lust for combat. On the other hand, this episode gave fans many topics to ponder. From Dong-soo and Tu-won's drama to Jinwoo's urge to achieve a higher rank, some may find the amount of subplots and information shared somewhat overwhelming. Dedicating episodes to the different topics presented here would have been lovely. Nevertheless, others will appreciate learning more about this world's inner workings. Hopefully, future episodes can present said information in a better fashion. But all in all, this was an enjoyable chapter of Solo Leveling Season 2.